Hi, this is Darren Drew from D. Drew Guitars. Today I'm going to be wet sanding a neck that I'm spraying. It's a neck that I'm making. Sunburst orange. It's all flame maple. Um, as you can see here, I put decals on it on the headstock. So when you're wet sanding on this, you want to be very careful not to sand into the decals. I'll put on like 3 or 4 coats of clear lacquer after I do my color. Then I'll do my color, put on my decals, and then I'll do some more lacquer over the top. 3 or 4 coats, wet sand. I use 600 grit wet and dry sandpaper. And here's another thing that you'll want to do too is like 3 or 4 coats, and then you'll always want to keep your holes here. Use a chamfer tool that will put a bevel onto the holes here. And I'll do this like every time I do 3 or 4 coats of clear. And what that'll prevent is it cracking coming down. And I'll also clean the inside of the holes out every time. And same with the little tiny holes here. Same with the holes in the backside. And when you go to tape off your neck before you're even spraying, you got to tape it off really nice and tight. I use like my fingernail on my sandpaper, hold it up, and then put this down, fingernail again, so it's nice and tight, so clear finish doesn't go inside the on the fretboard. So I'll always do the flat spots first, on the neck with a sanding block like this that has cork on it, because it gives it a little bit of give, but it still makes it nice and flat, so it'll be a mirror type finish. And I don't know if you can see here, but I've got this down now where I've had about 6 coats of clear over the top of my decals, and it's almost to the point where you're not seeing the decal line. So I'm going to leave it right there because I'm planning on doing more coats. So I've done both of the flat surfaces, and if you look, you can see exactly where it's touching, where it's not, the sandpaper is. And you want to be very careful with it and take your time, because you don't want it to go into your sunburst finish, because if you do, there's no way to really match it exactly right. So I've done my 2 flat surfaces, and I like to keep everything really clean, my sandpaper really clean. I'll sand it like up and down the neck about 2 times, and then I'll dry it off and then see where I'm at. And my water, I just put water in here with a little bit of dish soap. The dish soap will help it to be a little bit slipperier, help the lacquer not to stick to the sandpaper near as much. And just, work from one side to the other. I like lots of water on it. Makes it slipperier that way, better lubricated. It won't make your finish roll up on you on the sandpaper. And on the edges, you got to be very careful not to sand through your finish. So I'll do this again. I'll use the other side of the sandpaper, or it's cleaner, put some more water on. Start at one side and just roll it to the other. If you have like spots in your glue joint, you want to fill those all in with lacquer. But before I even start with the color, I'll have it all sanded down to at least 320 with like a sanding block, and then I'll use even a sanding pad like this with my sanding block. Then you can use like a wet rag or paper towel just to wipe this off. And you can definitely see where the, I don't know if you can see it there, but where it's touching and where it's sanding and where it's not. And before I even sprayed my color on, I'll use a vinyl sealer, easy sealer like this, that fills in. Maple doesn't have too much grain anyway, but it will fill in the spots. I do a few coats of that and then sand it. And then you can, it will make it so you don't have to put on as many coats of the clear lacquer. And see right here, it's pretty good already. There's a little bit down the center, some more right here. So I'll go back over this a couple more times and then get it to where I'm at the point I have like 8 coats on it, and so I'm getting to the point where it's almost getting all the way filled in. So I'll keep going with this a little bit more, and then once I get it to where it's touching everywhere, then I'll put on a few more coats and see where I'm at. But that should be about it. You just want to take your time, do this really slowly. And once you get it to the point where you do your last coats and you are doing your final sanding on it for the last time, you want to work your way down to, 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, and 3,000. And then I have some sanding pads that even go down to 5,000 grit, and get it down to that point. And then you can start putting it on your buffing wheel. And, most people don't have a big industrial type buffing wheel at home. So I have a nice 8-inch buffing wheel that I put on my drill press, and that works really, really well. And it will buff this out, and then you can use different courses of waxes to even get it, even smoother after that. And I use Merzina, it's made for guitar finishes, for final buffing wax stuff. So, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see it like this, but I'm getting to where there's no more spots that I'm touching. So then that's really good. That's about right where I want it. And then I'll do my ends here, but you got to be really careful. Like right here, it went through just a touch. So you always want to have some finish to touch it up with. And I didn't even hardly touch this spot. So that means that I'm not putting enough clear on there, but I'll touch this up a little bit and then spray some more lacquer over it, and be very careful of this the next time I do it. But that's what, basically what it is to wet sand in between coats, doing a lacquer finish, color. Anyway, please like, please subscribe. This is Darren Drew saying thank you very much.